Okay, so today we're going to continue the layout of the site. So here's what I was basically thinking we're going to have. We're going to have a top portion. We're going to have the next portion split in half right here with a section here and a section here, where this section is going to be along the lines of saying, are you looking to hire? Then click here, whereas this section is going to be along the lines of, are you looking for a project? Then click here. Something like that. Basically, one section for the people who are hiring and one section for the people who are going to be hired. Down here will be another smaller section that'll probably have a small navigation bar, things like about us, contact us, etc. And then at the very bottom, a little copyright bar. So let's go ahead and get started on that. All right, so okay. So using vim-p and then both files, pages/homepage.html and css/style.css, I can load them both into Vim in tabs. And you'll see that if I push GT, I can switch between tabs. GT. So, okay. Now, inside of this file, I've already specified the CSS that I'm using, and then I have these divs given names. Now I want to think of this more in terms of I'm going to have an overall container class. So I'm going to rename what I used to call big div as container. The height of this is going to be 100%. It's not going to be set to a pixel height. Let's see what that looks like. That's fine because there isn't much content right now. That's why it looks the way it does. That's fine. And just so that I can see what it would look like if there was a lot of content, I'm going to go ahead and add a lot of BR tags here. Let's see. And then, why not? Let's see what that looks like. Okay, that's fine. Alright, now I want there to be a top portion inside of this. So just generally speaking, I'm going to create a div here called top portion. Why not? I just put a single non-breaking space in there so that there's content. Now I'm going to define that top portion. And then I'm also going to clean up the CSS a little bit. Top portion. Alright, so I want position. Absolute. Oops. Yeah, that's right. Okay, that's better. Okay, top. Oh, I don't like the fact that every time I do that, Vim decides to move it to the edge here. I'll deal with that after the fact. I'm not going to spend too much time on that. Okay, so top maybe 5 pixels to give it a little bit of a margin. Left 5 pixels. Let's create a height 100 pixels. Need to look up the Vim settings real quick here. Let's try auto indent and smart indent and see which works. Okay. Nope. Okay. How do I turn indenting off completely? Okay, well that'll work. Okay, so let's give it a width now. Wow. Okay, fine. Let's see what that looks like. Oh, and I need to give it a color. Okay. Now we can use Firebug to play with this to get it exactly the way I want it to be. Right over here. I want the width to probably be 100%. Nope, because that's not going to be 100% of what's inside the container. There's probably a way that I can do that, but for right now I'm just going to make it equal to the size in pixels that I set. Okay, that's good. We'll make this 0 pixels after all. Nope, let's try 10. It's fine. Okay, good. Probably too high. And you see, one of the reasons that I was doing this inline before is that I can cut and paste it a lot easier. This is a little harder, not much, I guess. Yeah. So we're going to do the rest of these inline until I'm done, and then I'll make them into, then I'll put them in the style.css file. Okay, so let's see what this looks like. Okay, good. Now, very briefly, okay. Let's see. You should be able to do this just with CSS. That's height, not width. with auto. Well, that sure didn't work. Probably because there's more than one child in this case. Let's test that theory. No, alright, fine. I'm just going to go back the way I had it. I'll worry about that later. I'll still keep this interesting thing here because it might avoid me problems later on. Okay, so here we go. So the top portion looks good. Now, I'm going to have this login area right here, which will be a little mini login form. And then this here is going to be split into two sections right down the middle. So let's see if we can do that. Okay. So here's the top portion. Now what we really want to do is have something just like the top portion. Let's do it like this. I also need display block. This. Okay. Good. Okay. What I just did is I made sure that there's no padding or margin already built into the browser. You see how this blue just now filled a little bit more space there. And yeah, the whole point about not helping me is that the whole idea is that I'm presenting what it's like to be doing this alone. And if you help me, then, well, it's not a realistic picture of what a real developer is going to experience because real developers don't have people on a live chat helping them. So if you do have something to discuss with everyone else and you don't want to see it, just place something in front of it like Carl, don't read this or something like that, and then I won't. Okay, now, although the truth of the matter is usually when I'm working on this stuff, I'm not even looking at the chat window anyways. Until questions and answers period. Alright, so now the next step is I created this new div called choice container. What my idea here is that this div tag is going to contain two other div tags, which are going to be the left side and the right side. I'm not going to have that there. Alright. And let's flip them around here. Okay, that's good. Now, first I want this to have a width of 800 pixels. I also want it to have position absolute. Top is going to be down however far I need to be in order to get right below this green spot. And the screen needs to be moved so that it's absolutely positioned within the blue. So I'll do both of those things. So for right now, I'm just going to guess. I'm going to say 40 pixels. We'll leave that at that for right now. And I'll set a background color of, this ends up being gray, this color. Whenever you are working with colors and you have this pound sign in front, each of these two is red, green, and blue. So for example, if I wanted something all red, it would be this. If I wanted something all blue, or rather all green, it would be this, and all blue would be this. That's how that works. So you can get specific colors. You can cut and paste colors from a graphics program to get exactly the color you want. That's the idea there. My main goal is to make sure that each div tag is a different color so I can see how the layout is working out. All right, now I'm going to set this to 0. The order of those CSS elements isn't too important, but I like to have them ordered in a certain way, just for my own preference. Okay, now I need to move the red one around a little bit. That's the small div tag here. It's too low for one thing, so I'll make the top maybe 5 pixels. And let's go ahead and use Firebug to get it exactly where we want it real quick. Oops. $670 maybe? No, 665. Yeah, I like that. Okay, 665. Good. Okay, so now I want to fill this div tag. Maybe I want to make it a little larger as far as the content first. There. Okay, that's not being contained within where I want it to be, so let's see if I can fix that. Yeah, let's try moving that to here. Okay, it's still not doing what I want. Alright, why not? There we go. Okay, good. Okay, so now I can put in the left side and the right side. Oops. Small glitch there. I'm going to make this relative actually, because I want it to be positioned relative to where it would be inside of its parent class. Let's see what that looks like. Oh, I need a color. There. Okay, it's not inside of the blue class. Just for the fun of it, what if I put it here instead? Let's look at the Okay, obviously relative to this div tag is not meaning what I was hoping it would mean. That's fine for right now. Let's see what that looks like. Way too low. Okay. Oh, I meant that to be 100, not 1000. There we go, getting closer. Okay, move it up a little bit more. Right now I can play with it here to see how I want it to be. Okay, so okay. 80 exactly. Okay. Now, I guess I don't need this choice container I thought I did. Should be good like this. Okay. And now, I want to have a tag just like this one right next to it. I might need to make use of a float statement here. Let's see. Undefined. Okay, good. Good. Fills up the space exactly the way I wanted it to. I'll make the color slightly different, maybe a darker. See, if I want it to be darker, I'd be going this way. There we go. Okay, good. So now I can kind of imagine what this is going to look like. Going to have something about maybe a logo here. Something about the site here, the site name, little message here, login box here, or if you're logged in, it'll say welcome, your member name. I need maybe a little top bar. Now, where do I want the top bar? Do I want it here? Something that can allow you to navigate the site, or do I want it up above everything? For this, I kind of like the idea of having it above everything. Let's see what that looks like. Okay, so I'm going to create a new bar at the very top of this whole thing. All right, so here we go. So it'll be just like top portion. It'll be above top portion. Let's call it nav bar. Notice I'm giving these class names even though I haven't defined them inside the style.css yet. I'll do that a bit later. And the reason why is because I can actually see it a little better. Okay, let's see. Here's the top portion. I'm going to make this just a really strange color here, just so I can see it. See what happens. Okay, this needs to move down. In fact, everything probably needs to move down a bit. Okay, there it is. I can see it. I need to remind myself what the difference is between block and inline. Yeah, it's not doing what I want it to do, so why not? Let me see it. All right, let me think this through a little bit. I need to move my CSS into that space so that I can see this better. Oops, fix that. When I'm done, I won't have these style tags here. It just helps me to see it all in one place for right now. There we go. Make sure it looks right. Okay, now I want to take out this nav bar for right now. Where is it? Oh, right, I moved this one down. Okay, this is what I wanted. Alright, so I want to move this whole thing down. So let's do this. There we go, that's what I wanted. Okay, so let's put the nav bar here. Let's see. Black, why not? Good, okay. Now I want to shrink it, it's a little too wide. And then I want to move the rest of it up. All right. Yeah, I like that. And now I want to move the rest of this up. Okay, so there we go. Okay, so this is where I'm going to have my navigation, at least for right now. Like maybe right here there will be a thing that says account and so on. So I'll have different links up here. These will be text links that'll probably be pull down menus when you mouse over them. Here's where I'm going to have maybe a logo. So let's put in the logo here. No, I'm not going to do that with CSS. Not right now anyways. Okay, so I have the nav bar. I have the top description header. I'll just call that header. Okay, good. Then I have the maybe login box, remember box? I'll just call it login box. Left choice, right choice, and now under all of this, I want there to be two very thin bars, one for navigation and one for copyright. So I'm going to use exactly this on the bottom of everything here. And yes, there will definitely be JavaScript. You know, this one's a little tricky. I can't give it an exact location from the top because, well, actually I can in this case. Yeah, I might as well. Will it be 400 pixels down, and this one will be, let's do this. I'll set it like this, and then I'll change it afterward. And I'll make this one not black, but how about close to black? There's one, there's the other. All right, so let's move this one up. So instead of height, oops, not height. Instead of the top being 600, let's try 400. No, 500. Okay, 490. 480. Okay, 480. And then the other one will be 500. Perfect. All right, and then the last thing is I don't want this content to go beyond that point. So let's see if merely getting rid of these BR tags will do the trick. And there we go. So there is my basic site layout. Now there's some possibility of it maybe not showing up exactly the way I want it to in some web browsers. So I might check on that a little later on or in the next session. But I'm pretty happy with this. So the next step here is I probably want to start adding in a little bit of content to these different sections. So I'm going to have this copyright section down here. Let's go ahead and write in some text for that. Oh, no, I know what I want to do next. I want to move it so that all these style, all of the CSS is not inline in these style elements. I want it to be inside the style.css. So let's do that. Now, here you'll see a little bit of sorcery. Let's see here. Oh, let me mess that up a little bit. Try that again. Okay. Yep, and that is exactly why I love Vim. Now, assuming that I did this exactly right, I'm going to take out that Z index, I don't need that. Assuming I did this exactly right, it should look exactly the same as it did. And it does. So this is definitely a good place to do a git commit. Because if later on I make a change and my format isn't the way I like it, or the layout that I just made isn't there anymore, then I definitely want to be able to revert back. And another nice thing about Git is that you have the ability to revert changes you don't like. So in a way, it's like a save point. I'm saying I like where I'm at right now. I want to save here the whole entire project so that if at some point in the future I decide, wait, I want to go back to how it was today, right now, I can. So okay. I'm not worried about those swap files, that's fine. Okay. So now I have my HTML is like this, but of course I still have the problem where I have all of this inline style, but that's not an issue. There we go. And one more thing I want to change. Good. And I don't think I need this non-breaking space here. Everything still looks the way I wanted it to. All right, now we can start writing in some content for the copyright section. Let's just try this. And there it is. Now, I don't want this background color to be gray anymore because it's positioned where I want it to be. So I'm just going to go ahead and change that. And I also want my text to be centered. I think for that it's either text align or align. No, let's see, what is it? I can't remember. Text align. Good. All right, I think we've made enough progress for today. Let me go ahead and save everything and commit it. What I just did is I took all of the swap files that Git was complaining about, and I just really quickly wrote what's called a command line script with awk in order to delete them all. And I think that worked, or yeah, that worked. Okay. Yep. Good. All right, questions and answers time. If you have a question, just type Q and hit enter. And then you can type out your question. And if no one has any questions, then we'll call it a day. I haven't fully decided how I'm going to monetize the site. That's somewhat in the future. The most important thing is making the site something valuable that can be monetized, and then there's a ton of options. First, there needs to be good content, then there needs to be traffic, then it's time to monetize the site. So it's still kind of hard to say. Right now I'm just thinking advertisements, at least in the beginning, but we'll see. You'll get to watch the whole process of getting to that point. Generally, you start considering that right away. I'm probably just on my own time going to try to load this in a few different browsers just to see if it looks the way it should across different browsers. And if it doesn't, then I'll address that in the next session. I won't do any actual work on it unless I'm doing it live, but I'll at least take a look to see whether or not everything's compatible. But yeah, that's important right away. And the thing about CSS is CSS and JavaScript in general are browser-related technologies. So if it looks good on one browser, that's no guarantee it's going to look good on other browsers. The only way to know for sure is to test it. So a good idea is to grab yourself a copy of Internet Explorer, Chrome, Firefox, whatever other browser you can, and make sure that it looks right on everything. And if it doesn't, then you can research why that is. And today is Tuesday, right? Yeah, no, today's Monday. Okay, so since today's Monday, there will be a live stream tomorrow at the same time, 5:30 p.m. EDT. So the schedule right now anyways is Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday at 5:30 EDT. It's possible that that may move forward considerably into the future, though, in mid-October. I haven't decided on that yet, but we'll see. If it does, then it could move to be as late as maybe 9 o'clock p.m. EDT, and I know that's going to be unfortunate for some people for whom this schedule works great, but I may not have a choice just because of having to handle my schedule here a little differently. But we'll see. I'll keep everyone posted on that. And yeah, I know, if you check my YouTube channel, you'll see that I've actually been editing the audio for all of the live streams so far and re-uploading them to YouTube. I think I've done about 4 or 5 so far. So I'm going to finish that up, and then once I'm done with that, I'm going to upload the sessions that haven't been uploaded yet. The good news is I still have them recorded, so there's nothing lost. Okay, anyone else have any questions? All right. So then thank you everyone for coming. Once again, if you enjoy these sessions, please tell your friends, and I will see everyone tomorrow. Have a good evening.